Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Project DermYouth Podcast. Today, we have two very exciting and special guests joining us. They're not only incredible entrepreneurs and leaders, but they're also my two amazing mentors through the Harrington Foundation. I'm so grateful to have Julie and Emily here to share their experiences and insights and advice with our audience. Thank you so much for you both for taking the time to be here. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Thank you so much for having us. It's great to be here.
And
Yeah,
are
we're
you
so
ready?
we're so excited for this conversation. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Of course. Are you ready for the questions?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about yourselves and both of you coming to entrepreneurship?
Oh, yeah. Julie, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm happy to start. So I think a little part of me has always been an entrepreneur. And it really started when I was a teenager, like you, Sharleez. And in our neighborhood, every year there would be the annual garage sale, and the entire neighborhood would have a garage sale and put all their stuff out on their lawns, their driveways. And for me, I saw this as just a huge opportunity. And usually we weren't selling a lot of things from our house. I would make chocolate chip cookies with the recipe on the back of the Nestle Toll House bag. And I would sell Coca-Cola, like ice cold. They have a huge cooler, and my mom would always, or our mom, we're actually sisters, would help sponsor getting those fresh ice cold drinks. And every year I would sell those. And one year in particular, I think it was around the time that McDonald's had the teeny beanie babies. We would get those from uh, the Happy Meals, and I remember selling those. And I sold them, I think for $5 a piece. And at the time, I think a Happy Meal, including the toy, was $2. So like I started learning how you would make a profit from something really early on. And so some of those really early experiences that shaped my journey into entrepreneurship. And then later, it wasn't until after really following a much more traditional path. I don't think I had at the time mentor, like our dad had his own business, but he always advertised like we should become accountants, not so much that we should become entrepreneurs. So I kind of followed a traditional path where I went to college, and then I got a job at a corporate company. And then I worked in that role for many years, over 10 years in corporate in many different roles. And it was really COVID went and a situation where we're at home in COVID, and I have a son that needed some additional support with his like learning. And I just had this breaking point where I was like, I have to make a change. And so I ended up making a change and transitioning from corporate sales and marketing and operations into ultimately real estate. And I kind of found my way to uh, creative entrepreneurship, doing photos and doing applying my marketing skills to small businesses. And that's where I've really focused my attention. And then most recently, Emily and I have been working together to teach youth and young adults entrepreneurships and build those skills really early because we kind of are creating the program that I wish I'd had.
Yeah, I think, my journey, I don't know that I was super entrepreneurial as a kid. But I had a big sister, Julie, who was. And so I think, I feel so fortunate that I had such a good mentor always. I also went directly into the kind of more traditional, I went to college, I went and got a job in the corporate world. And I actually was climbing that corporate ladder pretty effectively. And Julie kept on talking to me about, hey, like what if we started something new or just read this book and just this thing. And I'm an avid learner. I really love to learn. And so she's, as we're reading these books that she'd been reading about, entrepreneurship that were inspiring her, she'd pass them off to me. And then I go through them and I'd mine out things that I could, use to lead the teams that I was leading or find use in my own personal development. And there was one day in particular where she had given me this book called 2 Weeks Notice. And it's an Amy Porterfield book. And I said, like, well, like I'm kind of actually like feeling really good about where I'm at. And I'm ready to now level up to the next level, which would be like an executive level tier at this company. And then and Julie said, well, just like read the book. And I was like, all right, fine. And so I read the book, and in there it says, like pick a date. And I remember that day being like, well, like that's kind of silly. I'm not actually planning on doing this, so I'm just going to skip over that. And then I paused and I was like, well, then why am I reading this book? Because like, what a waste of time. So I went back and I was like, all right, I'll just put a date down. It's going to be um, 5/2/25 because 5 squared is 25. So it was my magical number. This is in 2023. And I thought nothing else of it. I closed the book and I just set it back on the shelf after I finished it. And then that summer, Julie, there's a conference that we were going to, and it had all these incredible speakers and all these incredible entrepreneurs.
Okay,
And they're,
can I
oh, good.
share one little detail?
Yeah.
Um, I was turning 40 and I use it as leverage to get Emily to agree to attend. So I don't know a lot of people that are like, I'm having a milestone birthday. I want to go to a marketing conference, but I did.
Yeah.
And we went and I was so excited and I asked Emily to go with me and she did. And it was, yeah,
That
Yeah.
sounds
it changed the game.
Yeah.
yeah,
And at that conference, we're like, okay, like let's start. Let's do this. And let's take, I'd been working with a bunch of people and coaching a bunch of people who were really unhappy with where they were at in their careers and just like wanting more from life or they're missing opportunities to go after what they really wanted because they kind of had all these false mindsets around it. And so we're like, gosh, like, well, what if we redesigned it altogether and we started teaching youth this stuff that we're hearing now? Because then, like, it's a lot harder when you're older to switch. You've got a mortgage, you've got kids potentially, like all these things, right? But it was like youth are so creative and there's such a great opportunity right now. Like, how do we just accelerate that? And from the very beginning, give them like a path for the, corporate world or kind of, working for somebody else. That's really well defined and outlined, and everybody knows that one. So like, well, how do we start creating a path that's equally defined and obvious that then allows people to bring whatever their super strengths are and whatever their like unique traits are to the world? And so that was like the day that we then switched. And since then, it's been many iterations of that.
wow. I mean, I've already seen through our program the work you do is phenomenal, right? Like the amount of progress we've made it's definitely it's so nice to see, especially because I don't think I would take that action if I didn't have somebody telling me, you know? Like I feel like it just doesn't come like innately in me that oh, I have to do this, I have to pitch to like people. And I think that's what really helped me bring that growth. Like your motivation and a lot of our sessions that we do.
you know, I think though, Sharleez too, like, and to that point, I think it's mostly like we didn't tell you, like, we didn't force you saying, like, hey, you have to do this or else, right? It was mostly
Yeah,
like, hey, here's the step, like, just take this one step. And then all those steps compounded quickly, right? And from, 8 weeks ago until now, like, it's been incredible to see just the
absolutely.
amount of like change and stuff.
I
How are
couldn't
you feeling? Like, tell us more about like from like day one, kind of what were you hoping for? And like now at this point, where do you feel like you're at?
I feel like I was just hoping for getting more clear guidance and getting a more clear idea of my business. Just because when I started out, it was very vague. Like, for reference, I'm starting a hijab doll brand, and obviously, it's like, okay, we have a hijab doll brand. And what this program was like, okay, we have to make manufacturing, we have to contact manufacturers, we have to see some things, and especially talking with my mentors, right? Like, let's discover patterns, let's look at manufacturing Colombia, let's see I think I also something that was very cool was I've always envisioned like my dolls as plastic, but then talking to my mentor, I was like, wait, what if we switch to plush dolls so then it's more accessible for a younger audience, right? And these things, I don't think I would get that if I didn't have your advice and if I didn't have this program.
So good.
Yeah, yeah, it's been so fun to see the journey of how your ideas have been evolving. And like you said, it's been on this idea, and it was in a book Emily and I read. It was Adam Grant's Hidden Potential. I don't know if you've read that one. I know you're a reader.
Mhm.
Uh, and he talks about just there's this like concept of getting the reps, that it takes 7 to 8 repetitions to build a new skill. And when Emily and I were looking at the skills that it takes to become an entrepreneur, you want to problem solve, you want to like spot patterns. There is an innate ability to take action. And so we wanted to create something where, we inspired you and the other students in the group just to try something, to take a step forward, which might feel a little uncomfortable, right? It's like you're talking to somebody about your idea. That could be something you want to guard, but it's so important to actually bring those forward. And whether you choose a career to become a doctor or a lawyer and go in traditional path, or to create your own business, those skills that we're building will serve you in your future endeavors.
That was beautifully well said. Okay, for on to the next question. So, how does confidence and self-presentation show up in teens or when they're pitching their ideas or business? Like you've seen us pitch our businesses so many times. What are some things that like indicate that this person is super passionate and confident about their idea?
Well, I think one thing, and I hear this in your voice, which I love. I've always heard the passion in your voice. And so when you're working on something that you are truly inspired and excited about, that naturally gets conveyed. And I think so many times, and I've even driving carpools with other kids, my this summer, it's like, oh, what do you like in school? Like, oh, nothing. I'm not interested. And so when you can, like, we are learners. Children like love to learn. They figure things out naturally. And so when we can find that thing that really ignites something you're excited about, you're solving a problem for yourself or someone else, that naturally comes through. And I think it's okay to not feel comfortable talking in front of audiences. I know that for some of the students in our group, it's been a huge step to hit like to actually post a video or to even talk on camera, maybe to even go on camera. And so for each of us, like we're moving forward and kind of just acknowledging where are you today and how can you just take one step forward, a little bit stretch outside that comfort zone, and then it just gets easier and easier. And so we do those reps. We're like, hey, from week one, we're like, hey, everything is a pitch, right? That was kind of the premise of week one. And whether you're pitching your business idea and asking for an investment or asking for a sale, or you're just communicating with somebody, it's a chance to practice those communication skills and build those strengths. And so the confidence comes through practice. So I want to like leave your friends and your audience with the idea that it's okay to not feel comfortable pitching or giving presentations or walking on stage, and that you can build this skill and the confidence, and that just practicing, and it can start in front of the mirror. You could practice with your parents, with a trusted friend, and sometimes you could even record yourself in the private, in private on your phone and watch the replay, right? That was one of our challenges today, was to say, hey, watch your tape, right? Kind of like a quarterback watches the replays so they can see themselves play. Um, so you can build that confidence inwardly, like inwardly, or you can build it like through others, and it just takes practice. So we've been trying to give you the runway to actually do that week by week, one small step at a time.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Practice and reps. I think practice and reps. And I think, and knowing that, I think getting comfortable with that, and like changing I guess I always think about like the importance of changing your mindset around the fear of it, right? Like sometimes when you're practicing, it's like you're going to have to push yourself to do things that are harder. And then every time you push yourself to do things that, like push yourself outside your comfort zone a little bit, then it's like now you can look back and be like, okay, well, look how far I've come, right? And I always think about, hey, if you do all these little steps, now you've given yourself proof that is your own confidence, like builder, that you can do this, right? And so just action is what gets you there. The action of practicing, the action of repetition, and then the action of knowing that you're going to push through it, you're going to survive it, you're going to learn, and then keep going. So.
One thing, and I don't know if you noticed this, but we were really intentional about the stories that we have brought in as examples for the program. And so for example, I remember listening to it was a book or a video where Kevin talked about how he was giving a pitch to like a huge room of people, and he said, I failed more than everyone in this room, right? And so it's like, well, and really the lesson was, well, he's out there trying, he's executing, he's taking action. And sometimes I feel like we need a little permission, or we need to see people that have had huge success. and we need to know where they started. And we need to know that they were in their bathroom in front of the mirror saying it over and over again. And so we wanted to include stories and examples that showed a little bit of, hey, like it's not perfect out of the gate. He didn't start a business and it didn't go to the moon immediately, right? So it's like we wanted to take somebody that was a huge inspiration for all of the elements of our program and demonstrate and through stories, which are so much more memorable than like straight up lessons, that the show a little of the humanity behind it, right? The little bit of the struggle, a little bit of the challenges. We talked a lot about the obstacles. Like, hey, like every single thing that we've talked about, it's like here's the obstacles that were faced. And then we had to figure out a way around those obstacles. And you're going to have obstacles as you build your business, as you like apply for jobs or interview or whatever it is that you decide to do, and you can overcome them too.
100%. No, I think it's great advice to show to the teens especially. So for the last question, so what's coming up this summer more about like the Harrington Foundation? I know we have our capstone event. I'd love for you to talk about that. And what are some ways that like future students can get involved with your work?
Ooh, awesome. All right, so this next week we will be having our capstone event, which is where 6 students, we have some tough work this week, Julie and I, to select 6 students who will then get a chance to present in front of Kevin himself and the Harrington Foundation. So it'll be several other judges as well. And they will then select one winner from those top 6 who will then be getting a year of mentorship with Kevin. And I think this is something really important that Kevin, we were first designing this program with him and Wendy and the Amanda, the full Harrington Foundation team. The like mentorship was a really big part of like Kevin's story and how he got to where he is. And he talks about all the time in his books and just in regular conversations. And so when we talked, and then also why mentorship has been a big part of this program as well. And so knowing that is kind of like, oh, what a perfect thing, because he really talks about building your dream team. And so that's why, with the right dream team around you, it just unlocks possibilities of like who you get to meet and know and the networks and connections and all that. So that is coming up next week. And that's probably our biggest kind of next big thing, which is very exciting. And then after that, I think we're going to be working with the Harrington Foundation to try to kind of continue to iterate as every business should do. And then we'll be coming back next year and having another live program for the 8 weeks. So students who have ideas or thinking about wanting to have a business and not sure, like we encourage you to apply. Well, probably that will be opening, I'm guessing, the beginning in the springtime, 2027, I guess. And until then, we'll be, kind of follow the Harrington Foundation, follow Lemonade Standards. We'll be sharing progress and things we're doing. And then I follow our incredible students who have been a part of the program to see, like, I think one thing my daughter always said is, I was talking to her the other day about like, hey, what do we always talk about? Like when you're trying something new for the first time, what are things that help? And she said, oh, look for people who are already doing it to help you build your own confidence so you can do it too, or proof that you can do that too. So anyways, all that to say, like follow a Sharleez, like who's doing this, like who's been in this program and who's like jumping into action, right? It's not just this, like this 8 weeks is not just like an 8 weeks and it's all coming to an end. Like this is like the launching pad now.
Exactly.
And Sharleez, you're going to continue to move forward and change the world with your vision and the beautiful, like incredible products you're creating and the stories behind them. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words. And Julie, do you have anything else to say as well?
Yeah, I think as we go into this capstone event, there's been a lot of attention on the students getting those final 6 spots, and we're so excited for that part. And I want to just iterate that this is a huge celebration of all the work and how far each of these students have come, like how far you've come. And all of the students will be getting to give their 2-minute pitch, whether it's, so some of them are going to get a little bit more of Kevin's attention on the day of in this pitch evaluation. And there's going to be so many people hearing your ideas. And so when you have an idea, it's so important to share it and to find, like Emily said, to find those mentors, those people that will encourage you and help you to grow. So So if you are a student that's interested in becoming part of this program in the future, absolutely follow along with Sharleez and Harrington Foundation and Lemonade Standers, and we'll be talking a lot about like what those opportunities are. And start now. Don't
Yes.
wait until next summer or next spring to begin the work, right? I think we found that we had students in this program that it started in many different places.
Yeah.
And it's not like, yeah, so some people had no idea what they were working on. I think Sharleez, you had an idea about your vision for your dolls,
Yeah.
and they all the visions they grow and they change as you iterate and you get feedback. So it's a huge opportunity. So our students are going to get some of that feedback. We're working right now to make sure everybody gets a little feedback on how to improve their pitch, and they'll continue to practice. And then, going into your adulthood, you're the kind of person that when it comes time to put yourself out there or take a chance or try something or to experiment or initiate your idea, it's going to be so much easier because you've already done it. So whether it's like whatever that you don't have to have the perfect idea. So I just want to, for anyone that's thinking about it, you can start with something simple. Like I made cookies with the recipe on the back of the Nestle Toll House. And I've heard of, I don't know if you've heard of Kathleen Kelly, Sharleez. She's on an episode of
How I built
How I
this, I
Built
think.
This, yeah, with Guy Raz from NPR. It's a great story about Tate's Bake Shop. And so she was like, and I was like, oh my gosh, she was like me. She was making cookies on the back of the Nestle Toll House bag, and she had a cookie stand out in front of her parents' farm, and that's what she did. And then she started this huge business, which eventually sold for $500 million or $1 billion to a big company. So there's so many stories. So look for the stories, look for the people that and like the resources that are available to you. And if you have an idea, try, take a
Do it.
step, just do it. Don't
Beautifully
wait.
said. Exactly. Thank you so much for your time. I feel like every single word was just so valuable, and I think I really hope that teens really like understand and take action because I feel like this was so motivational.
Well, and Sharleez, I want to say thank you to you also, because I think like you are the proof point that other teens will get a chance to look at, right? And so just as I was talking to my daughter about, like you're creating that. And so well done to you and being a change maker and helping others see what's possible and by demonstrating it, right? And leading the pack on that. So thank you for the opportunity. We're really, really honored, and it's been such a joy getting to know you and getting to work with you the last 8 weeks. Well, and going into the future, we won't let you go.
I appreciate that. No, right after the 8 weeks, cut all contact. Yeah,
No cut off. We'll keep calling, just checking in. No, we are always here to support, and yeah, it's been a real joy.
thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Keep inspiring others. You will be the person that becomes the example. You'll become the model. And we're
Yes.
really excited for that.
And you heard it. Thank you so much for watching this video.